Two big trials underway with court TV cameras inside the courtroom. In Kenosha, Wisconsin, Kyle Rittenhouse on trial for shooting 3 men and killing 2 during the riots. He claims self-defense. Today, day 1 of jury selection.
We're looking, of course, at whether anybody's biased.
And in Brunswick, Georgia, the shooting death of Ahmaud Arbery murder trial, 3 men in 2 pickup trucks facing life in prison accused of chasing and killing Ahmaud Arbery. Their defense, Georgia's citizens arrest law and self-defense. We are live with the latest.
Opening statements could be any day now, and support outside the courthouse has been unwavering. Community leaders say they're planning to bring dozens and notable civil rights leaders to this area as we get closer to seating a jury.
In Santa Fe, New Mexico, new developments in the deadly shooting of Helena Hutchins. Alec Baldwin speaks to reporters for the first time. Plus, is this the investigation of an accident or potential sabotage?
There are incidental accidents on film sets from time to time, but nothing like this. This is a 1 in a trillion episode.
On the docket tonight in New Florence, Missouri, the snake breeder murder trial. Lynn Lee Rennick accused of shooting her husband Ben, and now her co-defendant and former lover set to take the stand against her, along with her other former lover and the father of her child. Will the jury believe her exes?
Hearing that she attempted to poison him, all of that was new news to us. Finding out that she was having an affair we were shocked.
In tonight's Unsolved Case File in Atlanta, Georgia, Catherine Janis was brutally murdered in a local park while walking her dog. Tonight, her partner, Emma Clark, who found her body, joins us live.
Atlanta 911, operator 7959. What's the address to your emergency?
Sir, I'm at the entrance of Piedmont Park. I just was searching for my girlfriend's purse because I couldn't find her. She's dead.
In Washington, D.C., dramatic video of an officer getting taken away in a suspect's car. We break down the video with our law enforcement experts.
Stop! 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 Stop the car!
In New York City, 2 suspects caught on camera committing an armed robbery. We take a look at the video during crime time. Plus, is there a difference between an ordinary citizen and an actor being handed a gun and told it is unloaded, and then pointing it at someone, firing the weapon, and killing that person? Tonight's 13th juror question: under those circumstances, who should be criminally prosecuted? Either, neither, or both? Go to our Facebook pages and tell us what you think. I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. We begin with breaking news. You know that we are covering 2 huge cases. Jury selection underway in both of them. But as I sit here right now tonight on this Monday night, we have a jury in the case against Kyle Rittenhouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where jury selection began today. Jury selection began today. They have a jury tonight. Not so much the case down in South Georgia, in Brunswick, in the case against Ahmaud, against the 3 men accused of murdering Ahmaud Arbery. We will bring you the latest in a live report from Brunswick, Georgia, coming up in just a little bit. But this is big news, which means the trial involving the shooting death of 3 men, the shooting death of 2 men, the shooting of 3 men in Kenosha, Wisconsin during those riots. They've got a jury in just 1 day. This just happening moments ago. Okay, so looks like from where I'm sitting here tonight that the trial against Kyle Rittenhouse will begin before the trial against Travis, Gregory McMichael, and Roddy Bryan begins in Georgia. So let's do this. Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter has the entire backstory for you tonight, how we got to the point where we are right now with a jury selected. Take a listen.
The following video includes graphic content. Viewer discretion is advised.
I am an EMT. If you are injured, come to me.
This is 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, just hours before he would become a household name. He's one of many armed civilians patrolling the streets of Kenosha on the night of August 25th, 2020.
So people are getting injured, and our job is to protect this business, and part of my job is to also help people. If there's somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way. That's why I have my rifle, because I need to protect myself, obviously. But I also have my med kit.
And while he doesn't know it yet, he is clearly in over his head.
Chaos erupted in Kenosha overnight. Large fires engulfed dump trucks, and law enforcement appeared to deploy tear gas to disperse large crowds.
The protests began after cell phone video of the officer-involved shooting of 29-year-old Jacob Blake went viral. During the first night of demonstrations, garbage trucks were set on fire. Protesters threw rocks and broke windows at the courthouse, and multiple businesses in downtown Kenosha were set ablaze. One of those businesses was a used car lot named Car Source.
In the daylight, you could see charred remains of a used car lot.
There are 2 other Car Source locations on Sheridan Road. Cal Rittenhouse spent most of the night here, close to the destroyed lot. But shortly before midnight, he left and walked to a different Car Source lot 4 blocks away, where he would allegedly shoot the first of 3 men. 2 videos appear to capture the shooting. In the first one, it's difficult to see. This is Kyle Rittenhouse. Joseph Rosenbaum is here. They both move out of the frame and disappear behind a car before gunshots erupt.
Oh!
This is a second video from a different angle. Here, you can see Rittenhouse before shots are fired, and here, you can see Joseph Rosenbaum. But look closely to the far left, just beyond the lot. Look for a flash. Somebody discharges a weapon seconds before Kyle Rittenhouse starts shooting. After the shooting, Rittenhouse walks around the black sedan, then seems to look down at Rosenbaum as he takes out his cell phone. The shooting sparks a chase down Sheridan Road. That's when Brendan Gutenschwager turns on his camera.
People were immediately yelling at him, saying, "Get him, grab him, he just shot somebody."
In hot pursuit was Anthony Huber, holding the skateboard, and Gage Grosskreutz, armed with a gun.
They were chasing after him, and at a certain point, he tripped and fell, the man with the gun. And so then as people started to close in on him and surround him, he started firing off at them.
During the confrontation, Rittenhouse shoots and kills Anthony Huber and seriously injures Gage Grosskreutz.
The shooter just got up and proceeded to walk towards the line of police that were there in the Bearcat and a couple vehicles. And he basically just walked right up to them with the gun still out in front of him.
Rittenhouse was not arrested and drove back to his home in Illinois that same night. A few hours later, accompanied by his mother, the 17-year-old turned himself in to police.
Do you want to have a lawyer? It's a circle yes or no. I would like a lawyer, but I'm willing to talk until a lawyer is available.
Kyle Rittenhouse was taken into custody just before 8 a.m.
What is he looking at? It could range anywhere from reckless injury to reckless homicide to second-degree homicide. I don't know yet. It's all going to depend on...
Murder?
That's what homicide is,
Yes.
Correct.
Rittenhouse claims he acted in self-defense, but prosecutors disagree. They intend to prove that the high school student acted with purpose and was looking for trouble when he shot 3 people, killing 2.
The defendant came to our community. He's not a resident. He's underage. He's out after curfew. He's armed with an illegal weapon. Why? That is the question. His state of mind, his intent that night, is a crucial issue in this case.
It is without debate, Judge. All 3 of these people were chasing Kyle Rittenhouse. All of them. That is not debatable.
Once again, our breaking news tonight is that a jury's been selected. Just one day. The judge on the bench right now speaking with those jurors. Let's take you in.
The plans for tomorrow, Mrs. Matuska-Mentic will discuss with you, and will be a different arrangement entirely, and that will continue for the duration of the trial. You don't need to bring food because that'll be taken care of, and we will be taking as brief of a break as is consistent with giving you enough time to sit down and relax and enjoy your lunch. The bailiffs will escort you in each day. Oh, and of course, don't read, watch, or listen to anything about the case. Now, there was a time when I could tell juries that, and I would tell them just, don't watch the news. Well, now there's such an abundance of information out there, online, over the radio, over the television, whatever else, on your phone. And it's in a lot of places. Some of these sports sites even have discussions about this case. This case is certainly well known throughout the country. So be very selective, and in the event that you land on something that you even hear anything to do with this case, just switch right away to Disney Plus or some other site that is not going to have anything about the trial, and do that. As I've said before, you're in the command seat. You're going to know more about this case than anyone in the world. And you're going to know a lot more than anybody who's giving information out over the media. So keep that in mind so that you can be fair and discharge that duty we talked about at the beginning of being fair and impartial, informed to the best of the ability of these very capable, competent, and interesting attorneys can make it. And we can go smoothly, I hope, through this case, and you'll be able to, as I said earlier, this can be a moment of such pride to our community if you do what the founders of the country hoped. So please keep that in mind. And with that, I'm going to ask the media to leave again because we're done. And Mrs. Mataska-Mentig is going to discuss jury arrangements, which are not for yours. So.
We have a jury. One day in the case. It looks like they're going to begin tomorrow. Let's bring in our think tank, get a little bit of reaction to all of this, because this is so a little bit surprising, but not totally shocking, because we thought it was going to take 2 days. Joining us in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, criminal defense attorney, civil rights attorney Kesia Early. In Houston, Texas, criminal defense attorney Brian Weiss. And in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney Michael Bixon. Kesia, I was going to go to you first, but I'm just going to throw this one at Brian first, if you don't mind. Brian, I always say jury selection is like pasta fagioli. You get it in 3 different places, 3 completely different recipes. It'll look different. It all is good. It all works, but it's all completely different. It's up to the chef how they make it. It's up to the judge how long jury selection takes. 1 day here. This is a high-profile case.
This is our trial of the century this year, and I want to give major props to Judge Bruce Schroeder, who, as the longest-serving, longest-tenured circuit judge in the great state of Wisconsin, has done a masterful job of taking a complicated case where everybody in the free world seems to have some sense of what happened that night in Kenosha, and turned around in literally record time and given us a jury of 12 and 4 alternates. I think that Judge Schroeder, because of his tenure and because of his experience, is exactly the kind of judge who we want calling balls and strikes. And look, you don't have to be a sports fan, and it doesn't have to be fall baseball to recognize that what's going to unfold in this Kenosha courtroom is literally Game 7 of the World Series. There's nobody I'd rather have behind home plate calling balls and strikes than Judge Bruce Schroeder, Ben.
All right. Kesia, I mean, this is pretty shocking to me that it was done in 1 day, such a high-profile case, but it's up to the judge.
That is correct. It's oftentimes how the judge is efficient in the courtroom. I've tried many cases, and sometimes a misdemeanor took forever, and then a felony case that was punishable by life was fast and efficient. It's how the judge pushes the case and how much time was allotted for this jury selection. So in this case, although 2 days seem to be fast compared to other high profile cases, I do believe that, of course, this is a very experienced judge, and he moved this case with efficiency, and we got the expected results.
Yeah, I mean, day-to-day trials, you get a jury in one day. It's just, we're not used to it at Court TV because it's always super high profile. Michael, hold on one second. We've got Court TV crime and justice reporter Joy Lynn Nakrim, who's in Kenosha, joining us by phone right now. Joy, how did they get the jury this quickly? Give us the rundown of what transpired in Kenosha.
Yeah, Vinny, really, and it was incredible speed. They moved to select this jury. We started the day, we had 80 jurors in the courtroom, 150 in pool. Some of them were remote. By 7:35 p.m. tonight, the court was down to 34 jurors after the rest were excused for cause. That was a number of causes. For some, it was scheduling issues, childcare issues, but some, it was causes that were really kind of at the heart of the case. There were, of course, a series of questions asked by the defense team as well as the prosecution. For instance, juror number 30 was excused after questioning by Corey Sharifisi, the defense attorney, and she's a woman who raised her hand saying she had a problem with using a weapon like that in public, and she would have difficulty judging the case fairly, for instance. And we heard that sentiment echoed several times. We also heard several jurors raise concerns about really having public pressure, regardless of the outcome of the verdict, that the eyes of the world were really on them. We heard many jurors express reluctance to even serve on the panel, and it was something that kind of became a running joke between the attorneys and the judge. There were other jurors, for instance, one juror who was a white man in his 20s, excused later in the day after 7:35 p.m. when it was already down to just kind of the smaller list of jurors. And he expressed that he had read that Rittenhouse was in a militia. And so, of course, the defense took issue with that. That juror was dismissed for cause as well. But we are down to a jury of 11 women and 9 men now. So it's a panel of 20 jurors or 12 jurors, 8 alternates. And so that's 20 jurors that are going to hear this case now. And opening statements expected to begin tomorrow. And I think you already laid out some of this. The court was down to that 34 jurors by 7:35 p.m. And then they've got down to 20 very quickly. Those 7 preemptory strikes exercised really in just a matter of minutes. Pretty clear that the attorneys for each side had been paying very close attention to exactly what jurors they wanted on this panel and what jurors they did not.
Let me ask you, Joy, because this is a case very divisive and really from the viewers and people I've spoken to, it breaks down by political parties and political leanings. Those who lean to the right tend to support Kyle Rittenhouse and the Second Amendment. Those who lean to the left are supporting the demonstrators and the gunshot victims. So were there any questions about politics for these jurors?
Absolutely, 100%. And there were many people who raised actually concerns, jurors who raised concerns about their politics informing their judgment as to this case. But the judge was very clear that politics really don't belong in this case. And, regardless of one's politics, if you feel that you can be objective and if the court deems that one can be a fair and impartial juror, then they will proceed because after all, the jury is supposed to be somewhat reflective of the community. And so we could expect a variety of political backgrounds. I mean, the expectation is for people to not for people to have no beliefs, right? That's just
everybody has one. The problem is with this case, what you believe is the way you see those videos from every guest that I've had on this show, from people I've spoken to in the newsroom to just people talking about the case online. So let me ask you, did the attorneys, were they able to get that information from the jurors, like who you voted for or which way you lean, to the right, to the left? Did that come out? Is that known by the attorneys, or were there other questions unrelated to that where you'd have to glean which way they lean?
So I would say that the politics was kind of a subtext to it. You know, no one said, "Hey, are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat?" But the questions were more, how do you feel about the Second Amendment? How do you feel about gun rights? There were a lot of questions about gun ownership, and we found that in this pool of jurors, there were many people who were either gun owners or had gun owners in their family, people who, were very much believers in the Second Amendment and their right to bear arms. And nevertheless, I mean, it came down to a question of whether these jurors, regardless of their personal beliefs, could decide fairly on this case and put their beliefs aside, put what they had known and I guess what they've gathered about the case through media aside, and just determine this case based on the facts presented to them.
Amazing. All right, opening statements tomorrow, correct?
Absolutely, starting at 9 a.m. after this, this jury has been selected really with lightning speed. Very late night for everyone here, but they got to be ready to go bright and early tomorrow, Vinny.
All right. Joy Lim Nakrin, thank you so much. Court TV crime and justice reporter live in Kenosha tonight. Let me just go back to the think tank really quickly. Michael Bixon, your thoughts about this lightning fast jury selection and eventually, to me, politics is what this was all about from the beginning in terms of figuring out which jurors would be better for the prosecution, which would be better for the defense. Your thoughts?
Well, honestly, I'm surprised that one, they got it done this quick, and I'm blown away by that. But two, in the manner that they got it done. I mean, it's one thing to do something just fast, but not right. But I think they did a really good job at the whole process, and I think the judge has been absolutely terrific through the entire process. Just staying lighthearted. I don't think that sort of does anything in a negative way towards the courtroom, and it keeps jurors engaged, which is a very important thing, especially in a trial this serious. So far, I think that they've done an excellent job. I think it's amazing they've gone through the jury selection process this quick, especially in a case this serious.
Unbelievable. All right, the think tank is staying with us the whole night. When we come back, like we've been saying, it's a huge week here on Court TV. 2 big trials. One is going to begin tomorrow. The other one, they're still picking the jury. A live report from Brunswick, Georgia when we come back.
I think it's going to be a fascinating case because you have a disalignment, right? You have Roddy having a whole different take than the McMichaels. Mm-hmm. Question is, are they going to call the McMichaels to the stand? I mean, I think that's going to be fascinating to see how he tries to prove his innocence. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a complicated and fascinating trial.
That is a big question, whether or not the McMichaels take the stand. I mean, if those body cam videos come in and their statements come in, there's no reason for them to take the stand. But we'll see how that all transpires. We're still in jury selection in Brunswick, Georgia, in the case against Travis and Greg McMichael and William Roddy Bryant, all 3 charged with the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Julie Janae, who's joining us live from Brunswick tonight. Julia, great to see you. So what's going on there outside of the courthouse as we get ready for this trial to begin?
Vinny, here in Brunswick, we expect that things are actually going to change as far as what we've seen. Things have gotten a little bit quieter now that we are in day 10 of jury selection. Tomorrow, of course, being the 11th day, but it could be the last day that we hear any of these potential jurors being questioned. Now, the social justice organizers here, they say that with opening statements imminent at this point, they think their presence on the courthouse lawn is going to change. Take a listen.
This is a big week. We are bringing in lots of more people. If they're mad at our banner, if they're mad at our buttons, if they're mad at people being on the line, well, just get ready to be real mad because we're bringing a whole lot more people in. And we expect, major people like Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. to come this week. We expect, we know that Cliff Albright of Black Voters Matters is coming. And we have a whole lot of other people who we're working on also to come. And people want to come. It's just amazing. People are just calling my phone right and left. They want to come. They want to be here for the Arbery family, because this family has shown America how a family can stand up for justice and make justice happen.
And that was Barbara Arnwine with the Transformative Justice Coalition. They've been out here. They've been the ones who have chartered the buses that have brought people here from all across the country. And they say they expect many more busloads of people coming here to Southeast Georgia, Vinny.
Okay, Julia, we just had some breaking news off the top of the show out of Wisconsin, the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, and they got a jury in one day. You just said tomorrow's day 11. Today was day 10 down in Brunswick. So where exactly are we in the process tonight?
Vinny, I thought I'd be bringing you some breaking news that tomorrow may be the day that we get the 64, but we're not even at the point that we will actually have a jury seated tomorrow. Defense attorneys are telling us they believe Thursday is going to be opening statements, but that's the earliest that it could be. One thing that was interesting about today, though, as far as the potential jurors who were questioned and one who was put on that amount of qualified jurors that we have 60 now. We need 64, but we heard from potential jurors who say they have a fixed opinion that's favorable to the defendants. Not something we've heard a lot during this pool. First, 344. This is one who was actually struck for cause because of his fixed opinion. He said, I don't see that they, meaning the defendants, have done anything wrong. I think that they did it in self-defense. He doesn't think that race played a part in the defendant's actions, and he said that he leans towards the defendant's side. He was struck for cause. But here's number 353. He did pass through and was qualified because he was able to say that he could set it aside. But what he said when he was being questioned during individual voir dire 353 is that he believes Arbery's death resulted from an unplanned escalation, that it should have been avoided, that Travis McMichael's intention was to hold Ahmaud Arbery until the police got there. And he said that Greg McMichael didn't even shoot Arbery, shouldn't be charged with murder, and that William Roddy Bryan shouldn't be guilty of murder. He doesn't think he should be guilty of murder because all he had was a cell phone. He said he has a problem with the murder charge and has a fixed opinion about that, but not about the case in general. The court was able to talk to him, rather the defense attorneys were able to rehabilitate him, and the court did allow him to pass and be qualified. So he will be part of that 64 once we get there. So that likely will happen tomorrow. That's the news out of Brunswick on day 11. See there, the pie chart.
Yeah, we're getting
60 jurors
closer.
qualified so far. We are very close.
We're getting closer. That slice is getting smaller and smaller. Julie Janae, stand by. Let's bring back in the think tank. Michael Bixon, you are in Georgia. There have been a lot of jurors who've been qualified that had fixed opinions on both sides of all of this and are getting rehabilitated by the attorneys and the court. Your thoughts about how that will play out here in Georgia?
Well, I mean, as a juror, you can walk into a case with preconceived notions. The question is whether or not you can set those aside, whether or not you can still be fair and impartial and, watch the case and listen to the law and facts and come up with a verdict that's true to justice. I do think that you sort of do have an issue when you have a lot of them with these preconceived notions, because it does take a little bit more effort to make sure that they are setting those preconceived notions aside. But with a case as big as this, as much as it's been in the news and as exposed people have, as people have been to the news because it's all over the place, it's going to be hard to find somebody who doesn't have some preconceived notion about this case. But again, it's whether or not they can set that aside and still be fair and impartial. And I think hopefully they will be able to.
Okay, Kasia, do they put those preconceived notions aside?
Honesty is the bedrock. You have to appreciate the honesty of these potential jurors because they're not telling you what you want to hear. They're essentially being honest about their thoughts and opinions. But just as Michael said, we know that these potential jurors come in with preconceived notions. But the question is, are you willing to set it aside and apply the testimony, the facts, and evidence to the law, follow the law as the jury instructions are read by the judge? So although we appreciate the honesty, we want to ensure that the system is fair and that we get that fair and impartial panel.
Okay. Brian Weiss, all the attorneys, Casey, Michael Bixon, saying the right things. I know how that goes. You want to give me some reality, Brian? Neither side wants a fair and impartial jury. Both sides want someone that's going to be more sympathetic to their case. That last juror that was described by Julia Janae, the defense absolutely wants them on. They will do anything that they can to keep that juror on, like the prosecution would do with ones who see it the other way.
Vinny, you're 100% correct. Look, Robert Hirschhorn, who is the dean of voir dire experts, who was on Court TV back in the good old days, used to say two things. Number one, we hope and we pray that jurors are telling us the truth when they say that they can set aside whatever preconceived notions they may have and decide the case on the law and the facts. But the corollary that Robert has always said is that no lawyer, neither side, prosecutors nor defense attorneys, has any defense against the stealth juror who wants on a jury for all of the wrong reasons and may ultimately be dissembling, which of course is a fancy legal term for lying, when it comes to telling the judge that they can set aside any preconceived notions they have and try this case on the up and up, man.
Yeah, and I think what makes it more difficult in a case like this is the video. So you're seeing the actual alleged crime, and you're seeing the alleged defense to that alleged crime as well. And you got to change your mind about what you're seeing in the video. To me, that's the real challenge in a case like this. But we'll see. Looking like Thursday there. That's going to be like, we'll be like 2 or 3 days into the Kyle Rittenhouse trial before this thing begins. All right. Think Tank staying with us. Still ahead. On the docket tonight in New Florence, Missouri, the snake breeder murder trial. Lynn Lee Rennick accused of shooting her husband, Ben, and now her co-defendant and former lover set to take the stand against her, along with her other former lover and the father of her child. Will the jury believe her exes?
Hearing that she attempted to poison him, all of that was new news to us. Finding out that she was having an affair we were shocked.
Plus, is there a difference between an ordinary citizen and an actor being handed a gun and told it is unloaded and then pointing it at someone, firing the weapon, and killing that person? Tonight's 13th juror question: under those circumstances, who should be criminally prosecuted? Either, neither, or both? Go to our Facebook pages and tell us what you think. We have breaking news tonight coming to us out of Kenosha, Wisconsin, in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. A jury has been selected. They did it in one day. What that means is tomorrow morning, opening statements, and the trial will begin. Court TV cameras inside of that courtroom, so make sure you are locked into your front row seat to justice, as you have a front row seat to the case against Kyle Rittenhouse, accused of shooting 3, killing 2 during the Kenosha riots. All of it caught on video, some of the video clearer than other parts of the video. But the jurors, 20 of them have been selected. 12 will judge Kyle Rittenhouse. The other 8 will be alternates. It all begins tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, on the docket tonight, another big case that we're tracking here on Court TV, the snake breeder murder trial. Lynn Lee and Ben Rennick were married, seemingly a happy couple living in a small town, and he was a world-renowned snake breeder. He ended up shot and killed on his snake farm, and now Lynn Lee has been charged with the murder. Some huge developments in the case. Her co-defendant was found guilty at trial. Michael Humphreys, his name. It's an ex-lover of hers, convicted, but he's now cooperating with investigators, and there was a hearing with a huge development. I mean, this case goes back 4 years. So after more than 4 years, just a month before the beginning of that trial, it looks like investigators now have the murder weapon in their hands. Take a look at what happened in court. Unbelievable.
Motion to exclude the Ruger firearm as confusing and misleading. So who's doing the talking?
Your Honor, the murder weapon in this case was never found. There was
took over the snake business and was a caretaker after Ben was killed. A neighbor of the Rennicks were afraid of Mr. Levinson, and they gave him a Ruger firearm. That Ruger firearm was confiscated by the police. It was tested. It was found to not be involved in this case in any way, shape, or form. I want to exclude it because I don't want the jury to draw a false inference or confuse that this firearm, which has absolutely nothing to do with this case whatsoever, with any sort of murder weapon, or make a mistake that it could be the murder weapon.
Judges, and I'm sorry, Mr. Heston, I'm not aware of this because it just happened today, after meeting with Michael Humphreys and discussing his alleged involvement and Ms. Rennick's alleged involvement and gaining his cooperation in this case, law enforcement, we believe, recovered the murder weapon. It's on its way to the crime lab as we speak, Judge. So, and that weapon that we recovered earlier today is not this Ruger firearm. This Ruger firearm has nothing to do with the case. We do not intend to offer it in the evidence. And it's not the one that you think you're up to, man? Correct. So do you want me to grant this? You can grant it as to this Ruger firearm, yes. All right. Motion to exclude. I'm just saying, I'm not saying exactly what you're calling all this stuff, but it's close enough. Motion to exclude Ruger as confusing and misleading. Grant. All right. Now, I think, unless I'm mistaken, Ms. Berger, we've got two motions to suppress. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. One is, Judge, there was also, I believe, I don't know if you want to take it up, a motion to disclose deals that hasn't been taken up.
Yes.
And I'd be happy to address that quickly, Judge. On, you got some new deals you need to disclose? Well, Judge, there have been 3 deals cut in this case. 2 of them the defense is well aware of. Ashley Shaw and Rachel Hunt were granted immunity. Can you disclose those? They know about them, and yes. But again, this morning, Mr. Humphreys was talked to. He was convicted of murder in the first degree, and the only available sentence for that is life without imprisonment. He was also convicted of armed criminal action. In exchange for his statement this morning and his cooperation, if asked in the future in testifying in this case, and for also leading us to the gun we believe this woman allegedly used to kill her husband, we've agreed that at the time of sentencing, we would work it out to where he would accept responsibility for his crimes and be sentenced not for first-degree murder, but for second-degree murder, and the punishment would still be life, except this time it would be with parole.
Holy mackerel. Holy mackerel. Let's bring back in the think tank. Kesia, early. Let's start, I don't know where to start. Let's start with the murder weapon. This is 4.5 years later. We're 1 month before the trial, and all of a sudden prosecutors now believe they have the murder weapon. What is that moment like for the defense?
Do you
need a timeout?
You need more than a timeout, especially during that waiting period while this gun is being examined and the ballistics forensic analysis is trying to test this gun to see whether or not there's a match. But this is a complete blow. And it's so close to the jury trial. I mean, trial is set for next month, and then the prosecutor just reveals that they possibly found the murder weapon. This can change the entire trajectory of the trial for the defense. So I'm pretty sure they're on pins and needles, but this is a complete blow to any preparation that they had, because they had a stronger case without the murder weapon. So I'm curious how this case will unfold.
Oh, I think I see the way it's unfolding right now, Brian Weiss. But here's the problem, though, right? I mean, Michael Humphreys goes to trial, gets convicted, and then cuts the deal, Brian. So that's, I mean, there's a little something, but he's the one who was there when the gun was disposed of and led investigators right to it.
You know, this is one of these moments where I'm reminded of what it was like on the playground in the north end of Hartford when one of your hooligan friends would roll up on you when you weren't looking and punch you in the stomach, and you realize, oh, I really can't catch my breath. I'm pretty sure, like Kesia said, that's the collective sentiment on the part of the defense team in this case. But look, while Humphrey will be fodder for cross-examination, at the end of the day, I've listened to prosecutors since the JFK administration tell juries the defense wants to whine about the kinds of witnesses we're bringing you. It wasn't our choice. It was that knucklehead woman sitting at the defense table with the bad blonde hair dye that's responsible for the witnesses who you are having to hear. We didn't pick the witnesses, this defendant did. And I'm telling you, on the over-under of hearing that, I'm going to probably take the over.
Yeah, Michael Bixon, this is a game changer. But the way this case is shaping out now, it's Lindley Rennick will be on trial, and two of her former lovers, two of her exes, one is a father of one of her children, are going to be testifying against her. The dynamics, the tension in that courtroom, my goodness.
Yeah, this isn't good. You don't have to be a legal expert to determine that when you have this, this many people who are involved in it coming in to testify against you, who know you, one of them already being convicted, it is not a good look, especially when you start hearing the prosecutor announce, oh, I think we found a murder weapon. Not what you want to hear, both as the defendant and definitely as defense counsel. It definitely is like a wrecking ball on your plans.
All right, folks. This one scheduled for December 6th. December 6th, Missouri versus Lindley Rennick, the snake breeder murder trial. When we come back, it's time to hear from you, our 13th juror. Today's question is all about, and related to the shooting of Helena Hutchins by Alec Baldwin. And my question to you was, does it matter if you're an ordinary person versus an actor? If someone hands you a gun and says it's not loaded, and then you shoot and kill someone, should the same thing happen to an actor that would happen to an ordinary citizen? Your verdict next.
But remember something that I think is important, and that is how many bullets have been fired in films and TV shows in the last 75 years? This is America. How many bullets have gone off in movies? How many billions?
That's Alec Baldwin speaking to some paparazzi. I'm not sure how much that helps him. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We're going to talk more about that in our next hour. But I also put up on social media today a scenario, right? An ordinary citizen versus an actor. Someone gives you a gun and says it's unloaded versus an actor getting a gun saying it's unloaded. Both fire the weapon at someone thinking it's unloaded. Both kill someone. Should they be treated the same? Should they be criminally prosecuted? Either, neither, or both? What do you think? 13th juror comment of the day from Ginny, because the name rhymes with Vinny. Both. Alec Baldwin should be able to count on the armorist on scene. If he was told it was cold, he would assume it is unloaded. But regardless of a gun being labeled cold, proper handling would be to never, ever, ever point a gun in the direction of people. Alec has some responsibility in this unfortunate incident as he was negligent. Michael Bixon, what do you think? Is there a difference, the fact that he's an actor on a set and is handed a gun by an armorer or an assistant director versus me being handed a gun by someone saying it's unloaded? Should we both be prosecuted, neither one of us?
An actor on a set, I do think, has a little bit less criminal responsibility. You're talking about someone who's, going through multiple checks and balances. There's a person whose job it is to take care of these guns, an actual armor. It's very different than if someone were to just hand you a gun, off the street and say, nope, it's totally fine. Go ahead and, pull the trigger away. Nothing will happen, right? I mean, common sense would dictate that, you don't know who this person is. You want to check the firearm and make sure it's safe. If you're on a movie set, I do think that responsibility has been lessened a little bit just because the expectations of, the controls that are in place to make sure that these guns are well taken care of.
Casey, you have about 20 seconds, and Brian will have 20 seconds.
Real world versus production. It's expected in production that you would be handed a gun and told that it's cold. You have to apply the reasonable person standard in the real world. Would a reasonable person take a gun from someone and aim it at someone? Absolutely not. The standards are different and the environment is different.
Brian Weiss.
Vinny, two quick takes. Number one, I don't think there should be any difference because, like Casilla said, the penal code says it's a reasonable person standard, not a reasonable actor or a reasonable armor. Look, at the end of the day, a promising rising star is dead. And like Michael said in Godfather 1, somebody has to answer for Santino. In this case, somebody has to answer for Helena. I'm thinking it's the assistant director.
All right. Casilla Early, Brian Weiss, Michael Bixon on this Big News Monday. Thank you all so much. Appreciate your time, your insight, and we'll be talking again very soon. In the meantime, folks,